Agray. But this is not merely about adding 3 ships to the Navy. It is about adding 3 different capabilities to India's maritime arsenal. INS Dunagiri is a next-generation stealth frigate designed for frontline combat, armed with BrahMos supersonic missiles, long-range air defense systems, and advanced radar technology. It is built to dominate threats above the sea, on the sea, and below the sea. INS Sanshodhak is the Navy's intelligence gatherer, equipped with autonomous underwater vehicles, remotely operated systems, and advanced ocean mapping equipment. It will help India understand and monitor the underwater battle space with greater precision. And INS Agray is the coastal watchdog, a specialized anti-submarine warfare vessel designed to detect and hunt enemy submarines operating close to India's coastline and critical maritime zones. Together, these 3 vessels reflect a larger transformation underway in India's defense sector. The Navy says they contain more than 75% indigenous content and were built with the support of over 200 Indian MSMEs, showcasing the strength of the domestic defense ecosystem. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India wants to become not just a consumer of defense technology, but a producer and ultimately a decision maker.
दुनिया गवाह है कि मैरीटाइम क्षमता के बिना कोई भी राष्ट्र बड़ी शक्ति नहीं बन सकता। समुद्र से विकास जुड़ा है, सुरक्षा जुड़ी है, समृद्धि जुड़ी है। आज दुनिया का अधिकांश व्यापार समुद्री मार्गों से ही होता है। दुनिया को जोड़ने वाले डेटा के विशाल नेटवर्क समुद्र के नीचे से गुजरते हैं। आने वाले समय में क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स, डीप सी रिसोर्सेज और नई ऊर्जा के स्रोत भी समुद्र से ही जुड़ेंगे। इसलिए जिस देश का समुद्री सामर्थ्य मजबूत होगा, उसका आर्थिक और रणनीतिक प्रभाव भी उतना ही मजबूत होगा।
The big question is, are these 3 warships a symbol of India's emergence as a serious maritime power? And how crucial will naval self-reliance be as in geopolitical competition intensifies across the Indian Ocean and the Indo-Pacific? On this, I am joined by Commodore Ranjit B. Rai. Thank you so much, sir, for joining me. My first question to you, sir, is what makes Indian Navy so different from Air Force and Army, where they are dependent on foreign imports? How come Indian Navy has been able to indigenize so much, sir?
Very good question you have put to me. Well, I belong to that generation where we did not have steel in India. The day we made steel in India with DRDO, Mishra Dhatu Nigam, and with the press of the government, and we were able to make steel in India, we became a bigger shipbuilder in the naval form. We were also big designers. We are the only navy, a big navy, which has got a complete design bureau. Because when our officers went to England in the 1947 to 62 period to bring back ships from England, 3,000 officers and sailors brought back 8 ships. Well, talk of Delhi, Vikrant, Brahmaputra, Betwa, the names are being repeated. So therefore, they have the ambition that one day we will be self-sufficient. It's now called Atmanirbhar Bharat. The Navy built Nilgiri, the first big ship, with a contract with Yarrow Shipyard. And that was the key. We got the design. You asked me about Air Force. You know, Air Force tried ab initio to make an LCA. And aircraft is a very complicated machine with a much more complicated engine. We have been importing engines, even the LM2500, which you talked about in Dunagiri, is made in Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. You first bring in the design, then make your own design, indigenize it. That is all Atmanirbhar about. And the Navy is all that. But I must say those words that the Prime Minister put is very important, and I hope the nation paid heed to what he said. Nations have grown great on the oceans, whether it was Holland and then England, which ruled the waves around the world. sun never set. Then came United States of America. And now I see the future, a chance that China is trying to look at. So India is next in line. We have the fourth, fifth largest navy in the world. And therefore, what you asked me, I hope I put it for your viewers. Between the Prime Minister, what he said, today, I mean, as a very important day for the country, that on this particular day yesterday, we commissioned 3 ships, which has become standard operating procedure for the Prime Minister. He did 3 to save money and to bring what Vajpayee Sahab used to say, Desh mein dhamaka hona chahiye.
Because these 3 ships represent 3 different capabilities. I also welcome Captain Shyam Kumar. Thank you so much, sir. And I asked this question. My conversation is built on the backdrop of the 3 capabilities which the Prime Minister inaugurated. One is for reconnaissance. We had Dunagiri, Sanshodhak, Agray with 3 different functions. But there was also a report, sir, that came. And how seriously that should be taken, that Pakistan is now about to deploy Chinese-made Hangar-class submarine in Bay of Bengal. How seriously that threat should be taken, sir?
Thank you, Karike. Jai Hind, Sharavarana. First of all, I'm feeling very nostalgic. And that is because I want to show you something on the screen. This is the old INS Dunagiri, which I have kept in my living room on a very good memory.
Okay.
This ship was my first ship as naval pilot. And I went for Operation Pavan and then flew from this deck.
थोड़ा नीचे करिए, आपका फेस ढक रहा है. Can you just, हाँ, that's much better. Yes.
ये शिप जो है आज फिर से रिक्रिशन हुआ है. शिप्स कभी डिकमीशन होने के बाद उनको रखा जाता है, नाम फिर से लाया जाता है. ये चौथा लेंडर क्लास का शिप था भारत में बना हुआ और विशाखापट्टनम में रहा ये. और this is one of the best ships that we produced.
It's a very nostalgic moment for you, sir. Huh?
Yes, yes. Not only this, after that, we were talking about Agray, this Arnala class ships. I did my watchkeeping on INS Anjadeep, which was a corvette bought from Russia. And then the Sanshodhak, which is researcher hydrography, from where I flew, old Sandhayak, etc. So all the 3 ships are very close to my heart. I practically see them. I see the deck. I see every crew inside. I see the engine room, and I see the torpedo tubes. So that is how I start, Kartike, with this. Yes, your question that you're counterbalancing the threat in the regional
in Bay of Bengal, there was a report that the Pakistani may deploy, and this will be the first after 1971 when we destroyed the Ghazi.
Yes. So let me recall that activity of having lost INS Khukri by the old PNS Hangur. The name of the submarine which hit Khukri was PNS Hangur. And we were in national stage, I'm a SW seeking pilot, and seekings were just inducted. 42 Bravo harpoons have been just, they have drawn their curtains on 15th of June this year after 56 years of service. So we were in nascent stage. Khukri was lost, but we did not wait there, and we sank PNS Kaji, who was under the guidance and under the lurking for INS Vikrant, actually, which we deceived. So let us talk about it. With Dunagiri, we get that force for outreach, distant water operation for ASW, anti-submarine, anti-surface, and also aircraft defense. All 3 capable single-handedly, with almost alone, for force of its own. So that is one. Second part is Agray. When we got about Agray, the coastal waters, we talked about Ghazi. Ghazi came very close to our coast. So submarine like Hangur class, which are 4 of them being bought from 093 Alpha Yuan class submarines, 4 from China and 4 they were built in Karachi. It will take time for them to settle down. Crew, motivation, air independent propulsion, how much they don't have the experience of submarine operations for very long. So we know, and counterbalancing by INS Agray, which has side scanning, sonar, coastal surveillance, and in shallow water it can detect. So our harbors, our navigational channels have to be safe. At the same time, with Sanshodhak, we need to have sea mapping. We need to have hydrographic data to know how to operate submarines and deceive them. How to, that lurking and then killing. So, submarine is very little platform, but once it is detected, it will be killed because the forces will empower the place, localize the submarine, and definitely hit this submarine. So the Agray has rocket tubes, small, all indigenized, DRDO developed lightweight torpedoes, rocket launchers of 6,000 meters, which can really hit the submarine from far before they can catch you. Sonars, very, very powerful. So all this together, what we look at in Indian Navy today is a distant water operation by Dunagiri, or Agray class ship for coastal defense, search and rescue. You know, hospital ship, Sanshodhak can do even hospital ship role in a war scenario. So these ships, it's a big ship actually. So these 3 ships and 40 more coming up in next 2 years. Maritime perspective plan is well planned. Our Naval Design Bureau, the PSU involved into the making of naval power, maritime reach, and the operations that is happening in sea lanes of communication. The tilt of the entire Indian thought and process is towards oceans.
Okay. Commodore Roy, let me take this opportunity. I know the discussion is on the 3 ships. How important is Project Nicobar for us, for Indian security?
Well, look at geography. Geography decides the future of nations. And the Andaman and Nicobar Islands are actually our geography and our outreach to the Malacca Straits. For the time being, no ship can pass through the Indian Ocean south of India if it doesn't cross the Andaman Islands and comes out of the Malacca Straits. That navy will be strangled, and that is called China's Malacca Releva. But you may have also heard that recently they're trying to get a transmission port to get across from Thailand. So Malacca Island is what you have asked
They're
about.
they're trying to make a huge canal like Suez, something like that. I don't know whether it's geologically possible.
Absolutely right. There were 2 proposals. One was to cut a canal, but that will possibly take time. But for the time being, they're thinking of a port on one side of Thailand in that bay. Oil and other cargo will come there. Transport by land, get into the ship on the other side. You don't have to go to the Malacca Straits at all. So Nicobar, we have woken up. We have woken up late. But as it happens, because the distance away from Delhi, even Bombay is far away, the sea is far away. So sometimes I must confess that we are a new nation, some 75 years old. We never realized that, as the Prime Minister himself said today, it is the seas which is going to propel you. It is your cargo of 95%. It is what below the seas in the economic zone. It is these cherished things which we should have thought of. But I'm so happy to know that it's taking place now. And our Navy certainly is a Navy which proved itself in the 71 war. It proved itself in the Kargil war with Operation Talwar, which actually the President of the United States, Clinton, told Prime Minister Sharif, the Indian Navy is around you. If you don't give up Kargil, you will be without oil. And that is, of course, we've seen too in the Iran-Iraq war.
Okay. Captain Kumar, I asked this question to Commodore Roy, but I'll ask the same question to you. Why was Indian Navy able to indigenize so much? Unlike Air Force and Army, I mean to say it's a sterling example of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Even before it became a slogan, the Navy was like doing stuff on its own. What makes it so distinct? Least talked about service, in the journalistic narrative. The first thing people talk about is Fauj. The second thing they'll talk about is Hawai Jahaz. Then they'll talk about is Navy. And then that too in very vague context. So, and the service which is not part of that narrative is the most indigenized, most Atmanirbhar. Why?
Yes, Karthikeya, you have already said everything. In fact, in very short, we the entire thing from Army, Navy, Air Force, there is a protocol. In India, we are the second protocol service. But funding and looking at Navy for its role, the vast ocean and capability building has been little bit behind the pace. 3 things. First of all, when we started making our lender class, that is Nilgiri class, which I showed you, Dunagiri was part of it. 6 ships were made. Those were the first of them. And we learned from British that time because we inherited our ships from them. And 1 more ship has been added now, Mahendragiri. Otherwise, Dunagiri, Taragiri, Vindhyagiri, Himgiri, Nilgiri, these were the ships which were the first ones. We learned from them. we got the Naval Design Bureau, which was very important, as Commander Ranjit brought out very clearly, that was the main facet. 100 ships have been designed this year. That was the centenary celebrations we had in Delhi. Second part, leasing of ships and submarines. You know, we got INS Chakra. We leased it from Russia. And on basis of that, we could make our subsurface ballistic submarines, Arihant, Aridhaman, Arighat. These are the submarines. Then we also got, now, you see Reaper drones, MQ-9B, we talk about that. We already have MQ-9B operating in India for last 3 years with a crew here. And we lost one in Chennai, it has been replaced. Lease is our main focus. We lease, we learn, and when we invent. And like Rafale, we're asking for Rafale, but we're asking for source code this time for maritime Rafale. We would like to retrofit. I'm a seeking pilot, Seagull missile that you carry. I carried Seagull missile, 2 of them. Surface-to-air missile, I could hit 100 kilometers away. In 40 years back, in 89, when I was commissioned into the Seeking 42 Bravo, I could hit 110 kilometers. And entire Makran and Sindh coast were mapped by us while flying with Air Force for months. So that was the capability that we built up. And from there, we got, you know, you are hearing the air-to-surface missile firing of medium-range missile by Seeking helicopter, and now medium-range for MiG-29. We are developing them because on IL-38, Russian maritime patrol aircraft, we tried to fit Sea Eagle missiles under Operation Yaduvans. And we try to become a maritime patrol power with a submarine missile.
Okay. Commodore Rai wanted to come in, sir.
Captain Sham has told you a lot, but you must know one thing. The Indian formed its own DRDO called WESI, Weapons, Electronics, Systems, Engineering Establishment, WESI. It's pretty classified. Even I would not have access to what they do. But from 1964, the design team in Greater Kailash and WESI in a private house from 64, because I come from that generation when I was a young officer, I saw these two organizations. So the first question that you asked, how did Navy move? It also had its own DRDO. Bright officers were put in it and told that you have no promotion prospects beyond the rear admiral. But they were so engrossed in technology. And today, an officer in WESI can go to Infosys. It can go to Wipro if it gets invitation. And that is where the key became. We began to trust civilian organizations. Larsen and Toubro has built the submarine, the nuclear submarine. Even on board Dunagiri.
Civil military synergy.
And even on board the ship, 3 ships commissioned.
Yes.
The Dunagiri, 5 equipment now from Larsen and Toubro. The torpedo tubes.
Absolutely.
The IPMS.
Spot on.
So we are lucky. I'm not degrading the Air Force. Air Force tried everything ab initio and depended, unfortunately, on 2 organizations, ADA and ADE. Hindustan Aircraft was told, you are no more going to design. We are having a design organization, ADE. It would be wrong to say, when I asked Dr. Abdul Kalam this question, he said we had to employ people. Yes, employment in India is a challenge for the leadership. Unfortunately, the design team and the Hindustan Aircraft Limited had to coordinate with themselves, and of course, an LC has come into being. So there you are, the answer. We trusted civilians. We had our own VC organization, which is classified, does not talk much, but does the work. And therefore, the Navy, with the equipment on these ships, are pretty modern.
Okay, thank you. Captain, I'm really run short of time. You know, I really, other 2 guests are waiting for my next show. But thank both of you, because I really enjoyed this discussion on how Navy indigenized and how the processes came into shape. So thank you. But to my viewers, you don't go away, because I'll come back. And when I'm back, we'll talk about Kerala, a state long regarded as India's public health success story, now battling a surge in waterborne diseases. Experts say the real crisis lies not in hospitals, but in the contaminated groundwater and poor sewer system. Kerala has long been celebrated as India's model for public health. From high life expectancy to strong healthcare delivery, the state has often set benchmark for the rest of the country. But tonight, Kerala is facing a growing public health challenge, not from a new virus, but from something far more basic: contaminated water. The state is witnessing recurring outbreaks of waterborne diseases such as hepatitis A, shigellosis, norovirus infections, acute diarrheal diseases. Last year alone, Kerala reported more than 31,000 hepatitis cases. and 82 deaths.